the question that was always in my mind is, what am I really passionate about? What do I love to do? And how can I make money doing that for the rest of my life? I think a lot of artists and creators start out just knowing how to do their thing, and most of them don't ever learn how to do the business side of it, how to get clients, how to make money, and that's why you get this stigma of the starving artist, right? And so that's where I come from. Like, I've been in like all of those realms and started a lot of businesses around it, started selling courses, teaching filmmakers and creators like how to do that and how to be a business person, how to make money, get clients, and yeah, that's how I ended up where I am here today.
That guy right there is Eric Thayne. He's a videographer and an amazing social media strategist who's recently grown his following to hundreds of thousands of people very quickly. And that's why I invited him into my airplane to talk to you about how to structure your videos, how to get more views on your videos, and how to create amazing content. So let's get to it. Here's Millionaires in Planes Talking Money.
Hey, you want to do the takeoff?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so hold the controls right here. Right there. Feel the weight of it? So your feet are on the pedals a little bit. The right pedal, push the right pedal in, push the right pedal in. There you go. We'll take a little bit out. So don't push left pedal, just take a little bit out. There you go. Just hold that attitude right there with the controls. We're waiting for 85, 90 knots. There's 70 knots. Everything looks good.
Am I looking?
You're looking great. Just keep going. We're waiting for it to go a little faster, a little bit left. There we go. There's 90 knots. Pull it off the ground. Just pull back. More. Right there. Now take a little bit of that out. Like right there. You feel that?
Yeah.
So we want to see. Bring the gear up. We got 2 positive rates of climb. Keep pushing the nose down a little bit. I'm going to trim it for you. There you go. And turn a little bit right. There you go. A lot of times we grip it really tight when we're nervous. Loosen up your grip a little bit. Let your okay, flaps are coming up.
I think you kind of line up the nose with the horizon.
Yeah, we will when we level off. But right now we're in a climb, so we want to see a little bit more sky like you have right now. This is good. And then let's keep climbing up. We'll keep climbing up to, let's see, neon. Let's go to 7,500, 7,500. Okay, who are you and what are you doing in my airplane?
Oh man, okay, so my name is Eric Thayne. I'm just a friend of Bill's, that's all. Bill and I know each other from the inner circle. We're just entrepreneurs hanging out, flying in an airplane. He does this stuff. This is my first time in the cockpit of an airplane, in the air at least, so this is pretty cool.
What do you think so far?
Lots of numbers and letters, and I can't really decipher them, but I know you can, so I'm okay.
Okay, so what is your expertise? Like, what's your background and your expertise, and how do you think you can help serve some of the folks that are going to watch this today?
Yeah, good. So I have been into video, content creation, social media, all like artistic things. So I actually started my first business when I was 13 years old, doing graphic design. I got into graphic design and web development and iPhone development, like when the iPhone was brand new and the App Store just barely came out, so I did all that. And then got into music production, owned a music recording studio, got into shooting YouTube videos, and then from there into filmmaking. And so it's always been like, I've been like starting businesses for a long time. I never had a real job, if you will. I think my job right now is more real than like what you would call a real job. But like, I never had a real job. Like I was always supporting myself all through high school and all through college. It was always like being entrepreneurial and trying to get gigs. And it was always around creative content creation type stuff. So video, music, design, like all that kind of stuff. I think a lot of artists and creators start out just knowing how to do their thing, and most of them don't ever learn how to do the business side of it, how to get clients, how to make money, and that's why you get this stigma of the starving artist, right? But for me, growing up, the question that was always in my mind is, what am I really passionate about? What do I love to do? And how can I make money doing that for the rest of my life? And so that's where I come from. Like, I've been in like all of those realms and started a lot of businesses around it, started selling courses, teaching filmmakers and creators like how to do that and how to be a business person, how to make money, get clients. And yeah, that's how I ended up where I am here today.
You just reminded me of like 2 of my favorite books in that little talk. One was The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, which
so good.
Is very much the artist and the entrepreneur and the manager, right? And then also Jim Collins, Good to Great. So his hedgehog concept is like exactly what you talked about. I think about this all the time. If I'm going to start a new business, is it something that I would kick the sheets off my bed to go do every single day? Like, do I love it? Like, I'm insanely passionate about it, right? Am I the best in the world at it? Am I really, really good at it? Or do I have the opportunity to become the best in the world at it? And then does it have the ability to make money? Because it doesn't fit in all three of those, I always say no to it. Because usually some people are just doing something because they love it, and it has the ability to make money, but they're not good at it. Or they're good at it, and they have the ability to make money, but they're not passionate about it. It's what they've always done. And that's the people who are like, I'm ready to do something new. So
it's got to be both, right?
It's got to be all three for me. Like, you could be insanely passionate about it, really good at it, but there's no market for it, you're not going to make any money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, okay, like that's called charity, right? And so there's lots of different ways to do that, but I think all three of those need to collide. So if anybody's listening to this, that you're starting a business right now, or you're thinking about what's my next venture, or where do I pivot to, start there. Like, do you have all three of these? And if the answer is no, then say no to that opportunity. So many people that are watching this right now, you are probably doing whatever you think you're supposed to do, whether you're working a W-2 job and you've been in it for 20 years, or you've always done this thing that you're doing, or you're a stay-at-home mom, and you're like, I have this calling to do something more than this. It's okay. Like, you can do both. You just have to figure out how. If you can figure out how to take the thing that you love, that you're amazing at, and you can go figure out how to make money with it, game over. What's better? To be the artist or to be the entrepreneur first? So you said you were the artist first, and you became that. What's better?
No, I don't think that there's a better. I think it's you have to just understand both. And, like, really, if you want to be fulfilled in doing your art, and also be fulfilled internally, I would say, doing your art, and be fulfilled externally with money and resources and time to be able to live the lifestyle that you want, you got to understand both of those. So a lot of the artists that I teach, the filmmakers and the creators, like, that's always the question. It's like, you started as an artist, and that's okay, but if you ever want to make money at this, you got to learn the business side of it. You have to. Like, maybe 1 out of a million are going to, like, randomly be successful, and a video goes viral, and they figure it out. But, like, even then, if you don't figure out the business side of it, you're not going to be able to maintain it. You're just going to keep going back to doing your art, and then it's going to peter out. And so that's the most important thing, is understanding both. Now, a lot of people, are entrepreneurial, where the way I would define that is somebody that starts with the problem and then goes and figures out a solution. They're not attached to a solution. They don't really care about what the business is that they start. They just want to solve a problem. Whereas the artists start with, this is the solution, and they go try to find a problem to solve with it. And so when you start with the solution, the thing that I want to do, then the smart thing to do as an artist is to go, okay, where's a problem, a pain point that I can go solve with that solution? When you're an artist, obviously it's like, okay, here's a problem. Now, what solution can I create to solve that problem? And so it's not really either or which one's better. It's more just having an understanding of both, because every business needs to have a really good problem to solve and a really good solution for solving that problem.
I like that. I think you got to figure out which one you are. And if you know which one you are, you can own it. So if you're an artist, don't try to be the entrepreneur from the start. If you're an entrepreneur and you don't have the art piece, then you need to just understand that, believe it, be fine with it, and then figure out how you fit in the equation of the business that you want to start.
Absolutely.
And I think the artists struggle the most, because like you said, they have the thing that they want to do, and then they try to fit a square peg in a round hole a lot of times. And the audience that they're talking to or trying to sell to is not the person who has the problem that wants their thing. It's the people that they know. It's other people like them. So here, I'll show you kind of what it feels like a little bit to grab a few G's. Not a lot, but we're doing like 180 knots. So you ready?
A little bit, yeah.
All right, so this is going to be like a little bit of the force of gravity here. So like right there.
Oh.
You feel that?
Yeah.
So we'll climb up a little bit. That's probably like 1.5 G's, so about 1.5 times the force of gravity.
It was like Top Gun right there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. All right, so this right here, let's see, 130 knots. This is the opposite of what we just did, okay? So that's like the opposite of what we just did. So I hope everybody's okay. So we've got like positive and like 0. So let's talk about what you're doing now and what you can give to the person watching. Like, like what would you teach them if they wanted to build some content? Like all these people they want to put information out, they want to build an audience, and they don't know where to start.
So basically what I got into now is I went back into video production, but doing it with the angle of now understanding the business of things, like everything I've learned over the last 10 years of how to grow a business, build a team, and everything. But we're producing content for people and creating short-form videos and like TikToks, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts for people, helping them go viral. We do YouTube. We're also like probably going to be getting into some form of ads, and ultimately want to get into commercials and all the big stuff as well. So I'm like back in my zone of creating, and then I'm like heavily focused on building a team around like operating the business side of doing this, and it just feels totally different.
I think the biggest problem that most people have, I know, so let's just talk to me. Like, we're starting a YouTube channel, we're starting to grow it, and a lot of times it's really hard to break through when there's a lot of noise today. How do you break through?
Okay. Yeah, so here's the thing is, I'll do it from this level, because I don't want to get like too tactical, but we'll talk about like some basic principles. I believe that we're entering the age of the creator. And it's a complete paradigm shift, I think, for people to like really understand how to be successful with this nowadays. Because it used to be that like with YouTube and content creation, it was just like make this type of video and then do it, over a long period of time, and it's gonna work, and you'll drive leads into your business, you'll build your brand, you get followers, all that kind of stuff. I feel like in today's day and age, it's a little bit of a paradigm shift. It's a little bit different. We're thinking about like, how can you become a creator? And what does it mean to be a creator? And what I mean by that is we're shifting away from the era of like big business, where people are doing business with businesses. Nowadays, people want to do business with people. And that's the big shift that's happening with content creation. So we're seeing like seven-figure entrepreneurs popping up left and right these days who are one-man bands or have a very minimal team. They're not big businesses, and their only traffic source is the audience that they've been building for the last few years, whether it's on Twitter or Instagram or YouTube or whatever it is. And so by creating content consistently, they've built such a rapport and such an audience that has so much trust with them that they're able to now like turn that into a business. We see this at a bigger level with like even big businesses. Elon Musk has way more followers than Tesla, right? Ryan Reynolds is so much more interesting than Mint Mobile. The same thing with, like, you could even say that about Apple. Like, it's Steve Jobs is like what we care about, all right? And so you're seeing that with big business, and then celebrities. Like, doesn't it seem like every single day there's a new celebrity starting a business? Yep. And they're realizing that like, wow, I've got this influence, and I can make probably way more money by creating my own product than I was by doing the thing that I got famous for, right? And so if you think about it that way, like the whole market, the whole industry, the whole like society is shifting away from like see an ad and go buy something into I need to know that the people that I trust are using this product, that it's good, that they advocate for it before I'll ever buy anything. And so when you can build that trust and you can build an audience and create content that's valuable, which means, by the way, creating a lot of content that's free, that's not pitching anything, that's literally just I'm here to give you value and to entertain, kind of like what we're doing right now. Like this is just teaching people. Like you're not going to have a call to action at the end of this. You're not going to tell people to go buy something. You're just creating free value for people.
Or am I?
Well, at some point, I'm sure, but by creating that free value for people, you're building that know, like, and trust factor where people like you, they know you, they're like, I trust this person, I trust his opinions, I trust when he tells me that something is good and that I should buy it, now I'm going to go do it. And that's the big shift. Like, every entrepreneur has to think of themselves as a creator and how they can build that first, like Gary Vee, it's the jab, jab, right hook, right? You build that first before asking for the sale.
I feel like the attention is the new currency, right? So we're talking about eyeballs, attention. So how do we get that? Everybody wants it. Everybody talks about how important it is. How do I get it?
Oh, yeah, so creating content, right? So let's talk about...
Let's talk about that word for a second before you go too deep. I feel like this word content, is like, it's, everybody's using it. So let's define it.
Okay.
Like, and not just like what it is, but how can someone who's at home, who hears, I got to create content? I feel like so many of my customers, my clients, my people, they're like, they just hit a brick wall when they hear that. They're like, I got to come up with a bunch of content to create. Like, do they already have it? How do you get it? Like, what does that word really mean?
Yeah, I love that. So like, basically what we're doing is creating value or entertainment or education to an audience, right? The format can be completely different. So it could be video, it could be a blog, it could be emails, it could be, in a way, like it could be like getting up on stage and writing content, right? So that's like the essence of the word content. Now, obviously, when we talk about it, a lot of times we're thinking of it in terms of digital media, right? So we're either writing something, we're speaking something on a podcast, or we're shooting video.
I remember 4 years ago when I bought the company 7 Figure Flipping, I had never been on stage. I'd been on other people's podcasts, but I didn't run a podcast. I didn't have to do any of this stuff. I didn't write emails and things like that. And I was just doing like my art. I was doing running my business. And I had things to share and value to give, but I definitely wasn't a content creator, nor did I think I was, nor did I want to be. And that was a scary term. And I see my people the same thing. My biggest thing is like, what do you already know, already doing, already comfortable with, and how can you share it? Like, how can you help someone else? If there was somebody that you were teaching, I guarantee you're watching this, you have helped somebody do something that you do that you're really good at. And it's that simple to start. And you don't have to get overwhelmed with the camera and things like that. So, like, what do you recommend to your clients? Like, do they have to have, like, fancy iPhone or the 5-7 GoPros in an airplane? Do you have to wait till you get an airplane to start doing this? Can you do it from your basement with a phone or a camera? Like, where can I start?
Yeah, absolutely. I care about, like, high-quality video. I love shooting, like, beautiful stuff. Like, I'm a cinematographer, right? And so, like, that's part of my art. And so I do teach people that, like, hey, this is what you should aspire to. This is what you should do. But it doesn't mean you need to come out the gate doing it. And I think the quality discussion is really important in terms of, like, where does that fit into content creation? Because a lot of people will go, like, I don't have, like, expensive cameras or anything like that. And my take on that is that, well, you shouldn't let that stop you from getting out there. Okay? If you have the budget for it, if you have the resources to make it happen, I believe you should be doing it because it does have a reflection on your brand. But, like, you can't let that stop you. So the biggest thing that's most important is like consistency first. I actually made a post on Facebook the other day. It says quality is better than quantity, but quantity leads to quality, and quantity is the best. And so
quantity is the best, yes.
Quantity is the best, right? That's the ultimate goal, is how can I produce a lot of content at a very high quality? But if you try to do that right out the gate, you're going to get burnt out in 5 days.
Yep.
And that happened to me, like, a lot of times. So it's like, focus on the consistency first. How can I build a system or whatever I need to do for me that works for me so that I can produce videos consistently, whatever that means for you. It might be once a month, it might be once a day, it might be once a week. And so whatever I can do to produce videos consistently and iterate through each video to make them better and better and better over time, so that I start with the consistency and then I work my way up to the quality. So the quality thing, I think is so important because there are a lot of people, you've probably heard this before or thought this, that like, well, I don't want my videos to be too high quality because they're supposed to be real and raw and natural. Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah, for sure.
So like, I don't want them to look too nice. And here's the thing that I always think about that is that, and I get that 100%, there is an element of rawness, of natural that people care about today. And that makes, because you think about it, the ultimate goal is to get people to know, like, and trust you. If every single one of your videos looks like an ad, it's going to be really hard to make that happen. And so you need that natural quality to it for it to really work. And so the way that I think about it, the way that I teach people is that, like, the video quality is one thing, but the other thing is the delivery of the content. And to me, the thing that creates that natural, raw feel, more than the quality of the video, is in the delivery of the content, how you deliver it. And this is a really fine line to find. So the video quality, to me, this will create people's perception of your brand. So, for example, if you're just shooting videos on an iPhone and they're just like quick throwing together, that's totally fine. You can create content that way, but you have to recognize that you're building a brand. Now, if you're a TikToker or an Instagram influencer, like, maybe that's your brand. Maybe that's what you want to build, and you want people to see you that way. And there are certain people who will resonate with that. They love that because it's like, oh, I feel like I could be you. If you're an entrepreneur and you're doing 7 figures, 8 figures, 9 figures, most entrepreneurs don't want to be seen that way, right? They want to look big. They want to build authority. They want to build credibility. They want to look like they have their act together, like you have a team that's producing content for you. And that, like, the quality of your videos, the quality of your productions says a lot to your viewer as far as, like, what level you're operating at. And so it's an important thing to pay attention to. A lot of entrepreneurs will put so much effort and stock into their headshots and their websites and their images and logos and all that kind of stuff, but then forget that the quality of your video or the look of your videos is also part of your brand. It also creates a perception about you, right? And so I think that quality discussion is really interesting. On the flip side, you've got the delivery of the content. So you can actually have really high quality video, but deliver it in a way where it doesn't feel so polished, doesn't feel so real. Like this, like right now, we're just in a plane talking, right? The delivery of this is just
Oh, I'm flying
Wow.
too.
What?
I'm flying also. I'm flying and I'm thinking and I'm looking at how far away we are. And there's a lot of other stuff, but yes, I'm just giving you a hard time.
But it's not like set up stage. Like some people create content where they're like, you set up a camera and the lighting and look at the thing and say, yeah, here's the thing you need to know, right? And they look so excited on camera, and it's like, why are you so excited to tell me this? It's clear that you're trying to sell me something. And so in the delivery of the content, you can really create that natural feeling where you're going to create that emotional connection with your audience because they feel like they're just talking to a friend or having a conversation with you.
So my advice to anybody in this, you can tell me what you think about it, is what do you already know? What do you already do? What are you insanely passionate about? Who are you? And what you're known for? And just go out and figure out how you can bring something to the world to just speak on it. And then little by little, you'll start figuring it out. You'll start dialing it in. Just a little tweak and path to change and shift and pivot, and then you'll find your way. And maybe one day, my goal was like, I want people to think money and airplanes. This guy talks about money and airplanes. Sometimes he talks about money in his airplane.
That's what you love to talk about.
Yeah, totally. If I can talk about money with entrepreneurs and business, and I get to fly, like, come on. There's like nothing better for me, which is very specific to me. Whereas you've got this video, camera, cinematography, story, those kind of things that you would do for free. So you're bringing value to your audience with that kind of information. When I watch your videos, it's like, oh, this is like some videos on like, these are the settings of the camera. So it's the stuff that like, I'm not interested in, but I'm interested, I study the art. I'm watching how you deliver it and how you pull people in and why you're getting so many views. So I don't want you to sit on it. I want you to go out there and don't be scared of the word content. Don't be scared of the word branding. Just be yourself, deliver what you have to the marketplace, and then use these other tools that we're going to talk about now on how to break through. Because I think there's something very specific that you talk about, which is the hook. Let's talk about the hook. Like, tell me about how important a hook is and how you build it.
Okay, so one of the things I always talk about is every piece of content needs to have a hook. This is the beginning of every piece of content. The hook is the most important part of your content, right? You got the meat of the content, you have the call to action, there's the story, there's other parts of it that we can talk about.
Why is it so important?
The reason why it's important is because you could have the best content in the world, and it could be so valuable and so entertaining, but if you can't get somebody to stop what they're doing and watching it, it's not going to impact anyone, right? If you got a message that you want to put in the world and you want to make an impact and get that message out there, you can have the best message that could save so many lives, that could impact people in so many positive ways, but if you can't get anybody to watch it, then it's not doing anything. So the hook is what gets someone to stop scrolling. We live in a world where people just like scroll through content. They're watching the first half second or second of your video, and they are deciding subconsciously, is this worth the next minute of my time? Is this worth the next 10 minutes of my time, the next 20 minutes, depending on the platform? Is it worth it? And that's the constant question people are asking. And so your hook is basically like, this is the first sentence of your content, the very first thing that happens that is going to either grab somebody's attention and make them say, I want to keep watching this, or say, I'm not interested, it's not worth the time investment, I'm going to move on to the next one. And so that's why it's critical, because you have to get that right. And the hook is not just what you say. Like, there's a lot of elements to a hook. It could be what you're wearing. It could be the location you're in. It could be sitting in an airplane, right? Like, there's people who watch this video because they're not used to seeing somebody talking to them over social media sitting in the cockpit of an airplane, right? Yep. That's a hook. And so it could be what you're wearing. It could be like an edit that you do at the beginning of the video, like a zoom in effect, or like throw some graphics on it or something like that. So all of those elements that happen in the first like half second of a video are all part of the hook. And the goal with the hook is to grab somebody's attention, get them to stop, and create enough curiosity that they want to keep watching, because it's an open loop. They hear something and they go, I gotta know what the answer is to this. Or if it's I'm flying to Montana to get a Chick-fil-A sandwich, it's like, oh, I gotta know how this happened, or like why they're doing that. Like, it creates curiosity. And so yeah, that's the hook. That's why the hook's so important.
So let's do this. What if you could take like somebody's business and say, okay, we want to create some sort of content, right? Short form content has a hook. It has some information in it, and then it has maybe an offer at the end, or just ends, like whatever you recommend. Maybe you could take us through the process of how you would do that for somebody's business, and then that way the person watching can say, oh, I see how I can implement that in my business. Actually, like something that tangible that they can do right now.
Okay, so the first thing you got to be super clear on is, who am I talking to? So what is I know we talked earlier about, like, maybe just talk about what you want, and maybe you're starting out, you don't know who you're talking to yet, then that's probably the best way to start until you start building an audience and you get to know them. So understanding your audience and who you're speaking to, I think, is the most important thing. So number one is just knowing that. And then number two is like, well, okay, what does that audience find valuable, entertaining, or educational? And I think a lot of people get too hung up on, like, what am I trying to teach them? What am I trying to go for? When the reality is that you just need something that's going to bring in those people, right? So like Russell talks about, like, you know your audience, and then you drop a hook in the water that's going to bring in those people. So you're dropping hooks in the water, you're creating content that's like, what is something that I could give them that's valuable, entertaining, or educational? Now, most of the content that I do is more educational, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs that are building brands are like trying to educate, indoctrinate their target audience. So in that case, like, what I would think about is like, okay, what is my audience asking? What are the questions they're asking? You can use websites like answerthepeople.com, where you can find like what questions people are asking in a certain target market. So you can type in videography, and it'll say like all the questions that people are asking about that thing. So you can go to that. You can go, like, talk to your market, ask them like surveys. So it's a really good idea to do content where you go, hey, I'm working on creating content for this, and I want to know what you guys want to know. So if you could ask me one question, what would that question be? Or if you're struggling with one thing in your business or in whatever it is that you do, what would that number one thing be? And you ask them those questions, you could get a list of like tons of things you could create content about. And a lot of times the best content is just answering people's questions. It's the things that they want to know, right? So like with your content, like, what do people not know about airplanes, about flying, about owning a plane? Like, how much does it cost to own a plane? How do you go to the bathroom when you're flying? Like all these different things that are questions that people are asking, and if you found out that people are asking those questions and you answer those questions, then they're going to be drawn to you. So to get to $1 million, you need a team. Okay? Let's say that's the point. That's the point you're trying to make, and we want our audience to know that to get to 7 figures, you need to hire a team. And so if that's the point, then what I do is I start with the point, and then I go back and I say, what is the question that point is an answer to? Okay? So I think about, like, what's the benefit of them doing that thing that they need to do? So the benefit would be growing to $1 million. Okay? So now I got to think about, like, what's the question, what's the hook that I can create that the answer to that hook is that point? Right? So for example, I might do a hook like, this is the number one thing you need to make $1 million. Okay? So that's a hook. The mistake that a lot of people make is that they'll start their content out, if you want to make $1 million, you need to hire a team. If you do that, then in the first sentence, they already got the point, and they're just going to move on. They don't have any reason to keep listening. It's like, okay, cool, thanks for telling me. I'm moving on to the next one. I learned the thing. Whereas if you go back to the question, which is, if you're looking to make
how do I
$1 million, this is the one thing that you need. Right?
So the question they're asking is, how do I make $1 million?
How do I make $1 million?
Or I've been making $300,000. How do I get past that?
Yeah.
If
you're stuck at $300K and you want to get to $1 million, this might be your problem. Or, hey, this might be controversial, but I'm just going to say this. Here's the number one secret to. Here's the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make. So you can flip it to the opposite. Okay, the mistake that people make, the reason why they don't get to 7 figures is because they didn't hire a team.
They try to do it all themselves. Because you're trying to do it all yourself.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yep. So now you're thinking about, like, how do I frame this in a way that's curiosity-inducing, that's more interesting, rather than just making the point. And then, so then you do the hook. Okay, now you have your hook, and it's something like that. Here's the number one secret to growing to 7 figures as an entrepreneur. Then you still don't go to the point. You got to keep the curiosity train going. So now you go to what I call the context. Now we go and tell the story. Why am I telling you this? So the hook draws people in. It makes them like, oh, I need to know what the answer is. The story gets them engaged in it. People love listening to a story. So then you go into the context, and it could be a story. It could be, so like, I was hanging out with my friends a few weeks ago, or when I was trying to grow my business, I struggled with this, and this is what's happening, and then I realized that the reason why I wasn't getting there was because I didn't have a team. Then you make the point at the end of the story, right? Sometimes it's not a story. Sometimes it's like, too many entrepreneurs struggle to grow to 7 figures, and the reason why is because they don't have a team, right? So the context leads into the point. Now, once you make the point, now it's the meat of the content. Now it's like, okay, I get it. But now, what else do I need to know in order to make that happen? And so then you give them kind of the meat of the content. You teach a few principles around that, and go through. It's like usually just 3 bullet points. Like, here's what you need to know. Here's my top 3 ways of building a team. Number 1, do this. Number 2, do this. Number 3, do this. And then the final part of the content, and this is another part that people miss. They'll teach the content. They teach this stuff. You get the person all excited and riled up, and then you just end the content. And they're like, well, wait a minute. Like, why did you tell me that? Give me something that I can do with that. And so the last part is the CTA, the call to action. You got to give them something to go take action. Now, it might not be go buy your course or your program. It might be like, so if you want to grow to 7 figures, hire a team. And that is a good concluding statement for the content that makes it feel like it was complete and finished, and I got what I needed from it.
Okay, let me ask. So it's interesting because it's a little bit different than what I see a lot of people do. So what I see most people do on a hook in that situation, that exact situation you just said, is they'll say, here's the 3 best ways to grow a team, or to build a team, or to start a team. And so the meat that you talked about after the point is where they start with the hook, which is somewhat different than what you just taught, which was start with the hook of if you want to build your business to 7 figures, you need to know how to do this.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And so that could be effective too. Like, that could be another type of a hook. Like, here's the top 3 ways to make your videos look cinematic.
What I thought was nice about what you did was you told them why they need to build a team and why they should keep watching for the things that you're going to teach too. Which is a little bit different than what I've done in my, like, creating what we've created, is I would go to, okay, you need to build a team, and then usually on my next video I would say, here's the top 3 ways to build a team. That's how I'd break that up if I was creating it from scratch. Because usually what I find my problem is my stories are too long. So how do you really condense that down in the context that you talk about, or a story? How do you make that really short? Because in 60 seconds, it's not a long time.
You've got like 1 or 2, maybe 3 sentences. So it's a really fast storytelling. And the thing is, you just think about it this way. You're not trying to tell your life story. You don't have to give all the detail. You're just giving them some context. So it's like, a few weeks ago I was talking to my friend, or when I was starting out as an entrepreneur, like, I struggled to get to 7 figures for like years. And then it wasn't until I learned this one thing that I finally started making it. And that one thing was I built a team. There you go. There's your story. Like, that's it. That's all it needs to be. And if you get too deep into it in the story, or you get too deep into the meat of the content when you're going through the principles, it's another mistake people make, is they start giving like a dissertation. People are just going to move on, because you got to understand the intention of somebody on Instagram or TikTok. They're not there to learn a ton of information. YouTube's different, right? I'm planning on investing like 10 minutes plus into a video. When I'm on Instagram, I'm looking for quick hits, just quick bites. And if somebody starts giving me too much information, I'm moving on to the next one. Because
what's the best time?
Best time?
Like the best amount of time for one of those reels on Instagram or short form videos?
Oh, the maximum that could be on Instagram is 90 seconds.
Right, but is there some sort of recommendation that you give on the length of time? Have you seen 30-second stuff is better than 90-second stuff?
So the general rule of thumb with time is that the best length of time is the amount of time you can keep somebody's attention. So if you got 10 seconds worth of content and you're dragging it out over 90 seconds, people are going to move on. If you can cram 90 seconds worth of content into 45 seconds, people are going to watch the whole thing and probably watch it over and over again. Because sometimes the content moves so fast so that they keep watching it because they need to go back to catch the things that they missed the first time.
What did you think about this interview? What did you think about the whole flight?
This is amazing. Like, for me, like, I'm jealous that you get to do this all the time. I don't know how to do it, and I don't know if I want to make the investment into learning how to do it, but getting to fly like this and just talk shop, talk entrepreneurship, content, like, that's fun. That's a dream right there.
So, do you think other people should want to come on with me and do this interview?
If your name's Tony Robbins, yeah, 100%.
If your name rhymes with
Tony Tobbins,
then you should come on. So, hey, let me know in the comments, too, if you want to come on the show. Like, why should I call you up or have you fly to Nashville to come on with me? So let me know if you're interested, and or if you know somebody who should be on, let me know who should be. And I'll reach out to them and have them on. Oh, hey, there's one more thing. So, what is something that you've never told anybody on an interview?
That I've never told anybody?
Yeah, never told anybody.
On an airplane or an interview or ever?
No, an interview ever, yeah, whatever. Like, You haven't really shared, you know?
Oh, I mean, my wife knows everything.
Oh, I mean, it could be her and you. That's fine.
All right, this is something that I don't talk about a lot, but and that's something I was really embarrassed about when I was a kid. But I actually wet the bed until I was 15 years old.
Whoa! What? Some trauma or something, or you just?
I don't know.
My son is 5 years old and he still wears a diaper at night. And my first son got rid of that when he was like 1.5. Like I'm just like, dude, can you kick the diaper? Like you put it on by yourself. So like maybe it's just
imagine being in high school,
dude,
and like going to like sleepovers,
yeah,
and, like wearing a freaking diaper.
No, I wasn't allowed to do any sleepovers ever. My parents were so strict. So
and that itself was traumatizing as a kid.
I bet, man. Okay, well, hey, well done.
There's something.
And have you done it since then?
I don't anymore. I'm happy to report that I got over that a few years ago.
All right, let me call Big Sky Approach. All right, you ready to land this pig?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
I can see the airport. Where is it?
Yeah, it's right there. See it out there?
Oh, yeah.
Like a huge, long road. It looks like that's a runway. Let's see. Below 178. So I get a setup. Below 178 gear. Flaps coming to takeoff. Inertial separators on. Below 200. Main lights are on. All that stuff's set up. What I need you to do is I need you to point the nose at the numbers. We got 3 greens, three landing gear down. Point the nose at the numbers and keep the numbers like in the middle of the glare sheet. The numbers, but what I mean by that are the numbers on the end of the runway. It's going to say 30. So you see how I got the numbers right there, like in the middle of the glare shield, like the middle of the glass. You see 30 right there, and I'm just pointing the nose down at them. See the numbers 30 on the end of the runway. There's like 2 numbers.
Okay, right in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just keeping. I want to keep that sight picture right there. So I'm just trying to fly the plane, pushing the nose down or pulling it up a little bit, just to keep that sight picture. You fly, you can put the hands on the wheel. All right, so that's kind of what you want it to look like right there. Just keep it right there. We're getting a little low, so I'm adding a little bit of power. And you're pulling the nose up a little bit. That's fine. Push it down again. Just nice and easy. There you go. And left and right just to keep us on that center line. So there you go. There's 88 knots. We're looking good. Gear is confirmed down. Keep flying. Keep flying. So keep your nose down. Keep pushing that nose down at the numbers. And once we get over the numbers, we're going to level the plane a little bit. So keep pushing it down. There you go. So you want to level it right there.
Huh?
Just hold it right there. Pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back. More. Right there. Hold it right there. Hold it right there. Beautiful. You feel how smooth that was when you touched down?
I bet.
There, keep pulling the nose back. Back. You just hold it right there. Just hold it right there. All right, that's controls. You can let go.
All right.
Nice job. All right, here we are. Hey, okay. Oh, where can people find out more about you?
So I'm on all platforms at Eric Thayne, EricThayne, and mainly on Instagram. That's where I kind of do most of my stuff. But I'm on TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, all over the place.
Okay, EricThayne, Eric Thayne. Awesome. Thanks for being here. We'll see you guys on the next one.
You bet.